Hi, it's Tom B. of Old Tom's Wormery. Today is day 112 of my 2x2 CFT worm bin. The continuous flow through has now been going on for 4 months, and that's like minimum time to actually start harvesting. You'll find if you go online, people say things like 6 to 9 months. I made mine zoom along. It doesn't have enough worms yet because I started with a very few. They're multiplying, they're getting there, but that means that the bedding is reaching all the way to the bottom, just being extremely well composted, not broken down into that wonderful vermicompost that we like and that they cheat and make at the store. But it comes out looking great, and it's full of the microbiology and nutrition that we need in the garden, and it's springtime in San Jose, more or less, and so I need to feed some of my gardens. So I will be taking a little mini harvest. I actually took it just before this video. I'll show it to you because the compost is going to the bottom as compost, not completely finished vermicompost. It still has worms in it, and I want the worms to go back in the bin, so I'll show you using the filter. And you'll just get the quick view. It'll filter for the next hour or two, and the worms will crawl out the bottom and clear out the vermicompost, and that'll go in my garden. First, we'll take a quick look. We'll look to see where the worm chow went and how the worms liked it, and then I'll do the compost on a filter, and after that I will feed it again. You won't see that. You won't see it again until Friday. And so let's get digging. I was supposed to be waving around my ding pod to show you, yes, I just did a quick mini harvest. It was 2 minutes. The 2x2 is easy to reach. Everything drops real nicely. Because I keep it fresh, it harvests very easily. You don't want to let a CFT sit for a month and more, because what will happen is the bottom will dry out and it gets hard. It's not good for the bin. So I like harvesting at least every other week. All right. So we're going to tilt the camera down for you. Hopefully that's a good view. I may have gone a little too far. Oh, sorry about the sound. My microphone has power died. So looking at the bin, the worms are near the top now, so they clearly did enjoy the worm chow. This side over here was all wet food, and all through here I stirred in a bunch of worm chow. So as we look at the wet food, you can see it's nicely populated with worms, and normally what we see is we see that the side that didn't have wet food is devoid of worms. Well, the worm chow clearly pulled them over, and you can see that it's a drier side of the bed, which is what I'm looking for, this being a little hard to harvest and sift. And so now we're getting more of the texture that we want, and the worms are clearly in there a lot. If I'd left the compost just on the surface, it's real likely I would have a surface layer of worms, but I tend to stir it in because I want that worm chow to suck the moisture out of this compost. Here's something for you to see. It's considered a pest, but that is a baby grub. This particular kind of grub gets as big as your thumb, and it makes a really beautiful green beetle. I'll probably leave him in my bed because he doesn't hurt the worms, and when he gets big enough, I'll take him out and feed him to my chickens. Alright, so the bed looks good. Let me give it a quick toss to mix all this stuff together because it's all cool. I don't have to worry about anything overheating. You'll notice the bin is full. It's 4 months. I've fed aggressively. The bin is full. And so now what I do is I take that harvest out the bottom, and that causes it to drop a little bit. When I take a couple of harvests, it'll drop enough to add more compost, more bedding in the top. But for now, what I'll be doing is using this nice bed as a place to get the worms to get out of my harvested vermicompost. So here's my filter, available on the website, oldtomswormery.com. Spread that out. Tuck it under because it fits a little better. Here's the harvest. It took me all of a couple of minutes to come out the bottom. The dry stuff is what I swept up before I did the harvest. And you can see there are worms in there because it is chunky and wood chippy. a little too much. And so, spread out like that. I'll leave the camera run for a couple of minutes and I'll put it on fast forward, and you can watch the worms disappear. And what they do is they disappear out of the top. I come scrape a little off the top because they've gone down, scraping off the worm-free portion. That pushes them down a little bit more, and in the end they go zipping right through the pores on the filter. They go into the bedding on the bottom, and I get worm-free vermicompost. So I'm going to let it just run, and then I will hit it on fast forward, and you get to watch the quick video of these guys disappearing.
This section is 10x fast forward. Watch as my worms zoom away from the light. They want to be safe, so they'll go down through the filter. And here is my worm-free harvest.